Today we're checking out the Barricade Access Power running boards for the 2007 to 18 Jeep Wrangler JK 4-door. If your JK sits higher than stock, or you're just ready for a more convenient step up without losing that rugged look, then these are a great way to modernize the daily feel of the Jeep and add a premium touch, so they're definitely worth considering. On a 4-door JK, passengers are getting in and out all the time. That's the purpose of the 4-door, and these make that step up way easier for them. These boards are gonna automatically deploy when you open your door, so you don't have to search for that footing or do that awkward hop up into the driver's seat. Then once the doors are closed, they retract up tight, which keeps the side of the Jeep looking cleaner and helps preserve clearance for trails, ruts, and steep transitions. That retracting function is a big reason people choose power boards over fixed steps, especially on a Wrangler that actually gets used off pavement, because you're not giving up any of your clearance height. They also include that anti-pinch safety feature for a premium touch, and that's gonna stop the boards if something gets in the way, which is a nice touch if you've got kids, pets, or gear moving around the Jeep. As soon as it meets any resistance, it's gonna stop and nobody's gonna get hurt. The install is gonna use those factory mounting points, and all the hardware, wiring, and brackets are gonna be included, so it stays clean and straightforward. And if you stick with me, we're gonna show you that install just here in a minute. Once you get these things on the Jeep, it's one of those upgrades that you'll appreciate every single time you use the vehicle. When it comes to the construction on this, you're getting very durable aluminum running boards, finished in a durable matte black coating for toughness and corrosion resistance long term. These are built for real world use with a 660-pound maximum load capacity. So they're stable and confident inspiring every time you step on them, and they're not gonna flex and bend over time. Now, as far as the pricing goes on these, they're coming in right around that $1,000 price range for the kit. For a powerboard setup that tucks away when you don't need it, that's a solid value compared to some basic steps that stay out all the time and they don't give you that same convenience and that clean, streamlined profile look. When it comes to the install on this one, it's gonna get rated just a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and you can get this job done in about 2 hours of your time. So let's head on out to the shop. We're gonna give you a detailed walkthrough of exactly how this install process goes.
All right, for this install, you're gonna need a 3/8 ratchet, a 10mm socket, a 13mm socket, and a 6mm Allen, along with a pair of side cutters and a panel removal tool. Today we're going to be installing power running boards on our Jeep. Let's get started. All right, starting off on the driver's side, we're going to start with the middle bracket. Each of these brackets are labeled, so just check your orientation. We're going to mount this one up. And with our provided hardware, it's kind of hard to see. We'll just get one bolt threaded in, and we'll let that sit there. And then we're going to move our other bolt and mount it right here. All right, now we're going to mount our hardware onto our pinch weld. And now we're going to come back in, tighten this down with the 13mm socket. All right, now we can tighten down our top mounting bolt with a 13mm socket. All right, now that you have your 2 bolts mounted up on the middle bracket, you can do the same for the front and the rear bracket, and also repeat the same exact steps for the other side. All right, now that we have our mounting brackets in place onto the vehicle, we can now take our step rail. We're gonna unthread all of the mounting screws. All right, now that we have all those unthreaded, we can now focus onto the middle bracket, and we're gonna line up the middle mounting point onto the vehicle. All right, once we have that lined up, we can go back under and put some screws in. Now that we have one screw holding it in place, we can now thread our other one in with our mounting hardware. Now we can tighten this down with our 6mm Allen. All right, once we have these two tightened down, you can repeat for the front side and the rear side, and repeat for the passenger side. All right, now we're in the driver's side front. We can remove this plastic clip, this one, and also this one to remove our plastic trim so we can get access to our carpet. All right, now that we have our trim panel out of the way, we can lift up on our carpet to get access to this rubber grommet right here, and we're gonna pop that out so we can then get access to our motors. All right, now that we have our carpet pulled apart a little bit, we're gonna start running our wire harness through. These two connectors are gonna be connected to our module. Then we have our battery lead and also our ground, but we're gonna be focusing right now on our driver's side motor lead. So we're gonna take this and fish it through the carpet. All right, once you have that pushed through, you now come back and tuck the wires under and set that aside. Since we have the plastic trim off, we're gonna run our door switches down the channel. Now we can take our door switch leads. We're gonna run it under these two wires right here. Hold that all the way through. And then we're gonna run the back one through the plastic trim. Now we're gonna take our passenger side harness and we're gonna remove our driver's side carpet and tuck it up through the center. All right, it's kind of hard to see, but there is one clip holding in the carpet on the driver's side footwell. Once you have that pulled back, you can now run your harness through the center. All right, once we have our harness sitting there, we can reach through and pull through the other side. All right, once you have the harness fully pulled through on the passenger side, you can now repeat the same exact steps to get it down to the grommet. All right, once you have your harness laid out where you need to go, you can now fold your carpet back over. Once you have the carpet laid out, you can now reinstall the clip, holding onto the driver's side footwell on the carpet. Now we can take our driver's side door switch and connect that together. Once you have that secured, you can now route it underneath the trim. Now we can take the switch, remove the backing, and we're going to place this just underneath the door catch. Now we can take our door switch magnet and place it right here. Once you have that in place, you can now repeat the same exact process for the remaining 3 doors. All right, once we have all the wires tucked away, we can now install our trim paneling back onto the driver's side. All right, now we're gonna attach our ground onto the body ground. There is one attachment right next to the OBD2 connector. It is really hard to see, so we're gonna get in there with a 10mm, remove the nut, and then install this on there. All right, once you have that installed, you can now tuck the wire away out of any moving parts. All right, now we can take our power module and connect this up. Once we have that plugged in, we can take the provided hardware and connect our module up onto the driver's side frame and mount that in. Using our 10mm socket, we can now secure that down. Now we can take our positive battery lead and fish this through the firewall up into the engine bay. All right, now that we have our battery lead fed through the firewall, we're gonna pull it through. All right, now that we have the lead fully pulled through, we can now connect the other end for our battery positive lead. Now we can take the extra lead and run it across the top of the firewall and connect it to the battery. All right, now we can take our battery positive wire and connect it to our positive terminal. We're gonna use a 10mm nut and remove that. We're gonna use our 10mm socket and remove the nut off. And now we can tighten this down. Now we can take our harness and secure it along the top end right here. Once we have that secured, we can now repeat for the center and the driver's side. All right, now we can connect our motor. All right, now we can take our excess wire and secure it out of the way. All right, once we have our wires tucked up and out of the way, you can repeat the same steps for the other side. All right, that wraps up our install for Barricade Access Power running boards on 07 to 18 Jeep Wrangler JK 4-door. Just remember, for everything Jeep related, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.